Hello, everybody. Welcome to the fourth episode of Social Security Talk. I'm Marc, the guy in the blue sweater, joined by my partner in crime, Jim Blair. Who looks so much more relaxed than I am. How's everything with you, Jim?
Doing good. Can't complain. Nobody listens anyway, so.
It's going to be in the 70s the next 2 days here in Cincinnati, isn't it?
Yeah, so what do I have to travel out of town? What's up with that?
No, that's true, you do. Jim, tell everybody where you're going.
I'm heading down to Orlando because it's going to be in the 70s in Cincinnati. Why would you want to be here? But we have a class, NSSA certificate class in Orlando, and we're going to be teaching some folks about Social Security. Should be a good time. Get that class done, get some new NSSA certificate holders into the fold. The more people that know about Social Security, the better it is for the general public. So we're always trying to make sure that we take care of everybody, get them signed up, teach them about Social Security, and make sure that at least people, when they do file for their benefits, at least if they're smart enough to talk to someone who knows something about it, will maximize their benefit. Situational Social Security is always a concern because everybody's situation is different. So we have to make sure that they maximize their benefit for their particular situation.
Jim, you could be meeting with 10 married couples, and they all have different options and strategies available to them because of situational Social Security. So let me tell folks what we do. Our firm is Premier Social Security Consulting. We do two things, and we do two things very well: Social Security consulting and education. So when advisors are meeting up with clients ask questions about Social Security, Jim and I are there to do a Social Security consultation for those clients. We also receive lots of clients that find us through internet searches. Also, we educate advisors across the country, increasing their value to clients. And we award the National Social Security Advisor Certificate after the advisors pass an assessment. We focus on two items in our class. Number one, situational Social Security. Jim and I both know there are about 76 million baby boomers out there, and they all have different options and strategies available to them. And we also focus on those probing Social Security questions so folks get more money out of the Social Security system. Now, in today's podcast, we don't have any specific topics we're going to talk for the most part about today during the podcast, but we have quite a few topics we're just going to touch upon. How does that sound to you, Jim?
Yeah, it sounds good. It's questions that we get on a fairly regular basis. So I know there's a lot of folks looking for this type of information, so we thought we'd cover that today.
So the first item, Jim, you brought up earlier was talking about Social Security disability and the fact that a spouse can collect a spousal benefit off of somebody that might be receiving SSDI. Is that correct?
Right, and actually it's that situation, and sometimes the disabled person reaches age 62, and maybe they're eligible for an additional spousal benefit on top of what they're receiving. So what is it that needs to be done in each situation?
And you're right. A lot of people do not realize that you can collect a spousal benefit off somebody who might be, let's say, age 55, Jim, and receiving SSDI. How does that work?
Yeah, what would happen, and hopefully you're aware that as a spouse at your full retirement age, you're eligible for 50% of the full retirement age benefit of the person that you're going to receive that benefit from. Well, people on disability receive the full benefit. They are not reduced for age. If you have someone receiving disability, you can cut their gross amount in half, and that's what their spouse is eligible for. And all the regular spousal benefits apply. They have to be age 62. They had to be married to the number holder for at least 12 months or more. And so they would look at what they're eligible for on their own work record, and they would have to draw that first. Deemed filing applies. But if they're eligible then for a spousal boost, they would draw that from the individual who's receiving disability off of their work record. So it can be that benefits are payable. We have to look into that and see all those different parts of it and determine what benefits are payable.
So, Jim, a strategy is, I mean, if you have husband and wife, let's say the husband is on disability. No, yeah, it really doesn't matter. Let's say a husband's on disability. Maybe he's 60. The wife is 62. She can claim a spousal off of his work record and receive a spousal benefit at age 62, even though the husband is only age 60. How much will the wife receive? Is it based on the retirement PIA or disability PIA?
It's going to be based on the disability PIA. Now, oftentimes they're the same or close, but it can be different, especially if the individual's been receiving disability for a long period of time. And in that case, normally the disability PIA is a little bit higher. It's not much higher, but a little bit higher. So it's based off of the disability PIA, and then half of that less the spouse's own PIA, and that'll give you the spousal benefit that's payable.
Jim, what happens to the SSDI when somebody reaches full retirement age?
Well, what happens really is it's just converted to retirement. So the person receiving the benefit doesn't see anything different. Their payment is the same. Their payday is the same. What happens is the money that's being paid to them now comes out of the retirement trust fund instead of the disability trust fund. And what it allows to happen, first of all, they don't have to worry about there being a continuing disability review, because people on disability can often receive a review to make sure they're still disabled so that the benefits will continue. Well, once they reach full retirement age, they don't have to worry about that. Also, if they are able to do a little bit of work, if earnings show up on their earnings record, they don't have to worry about Social Security seeing that and saying, you know what, this person is on disability, now they're working, maybe we better look into that. And it eliminates that. They could do a little bit of work if they can.
Great. Thank you, Jim. Another topic, Jim, you want to talk about is that lady called Irma, E-R-M-A. Tell me what you want to talk about when it comes to Irma today.
Well, she spells her name a little different. It's I-R-I-R-A-A, but...
no, wait, no, you didn't catch it. It's I-R-M-A-A.
Yeah, what'd I say? Well, anyway, what you said.
Well, what does it stand for?
It stands for income adjusted...
Income-related monthly adjustment amount.
Yes.
And believe me, Jim, I'm 67. It's taken me 60 years to learn that.
Oh, it's just nuts. It's IRMA. Yeah. And what does that mean? That means, depending on your income, you may pay more for your Medicare Part B medical insurance premium. Right now, the base price is $164.90, but it can be upwards of $500, around $550 a month. That's for you, and maybe your wife or husband would pay the same amount. It's based on your income 2 years ago. So in 2023, people have their Medicare premiums based on their income in 2021. And if you're over the amount that they look at, then you're going to pay more. And there's several different brackets that you go through. You don't go from 164 to 500, but you're going to look at that income. Sometimes the problem is maybe 2 years ago your income was higher, but now it isn't. If you had a life-changing event, you retired, you sold your business, you got married, you got divorced, there was a death in the family, and now your income is less. You can use a form, it's an SSA 44, and you can use that form to request Social Security use your current income in 2023, what you project it to be, to determine your Medicare premiums. The problem people are running into is maybe the folks that do have less income in 2023, but they didn't have a life-changing event. Yeah. Unfortunately for those folks, they're going to pay the higher amount this year. Then in 2024, Social Security is going to look and see what were your earnings in 2022. Without the life-changing event, they will not reduce the amount of your Medicare premium.
Jim, let me review the life-changing events, this form here, SSA-44. So they're basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For the first one is getting married. So if you got married from 2021 through, I guess, 2023, that's considered a life-changing event. Divorce or an annulment of your marriage. Death of your spouse, as long as you are not responsible for the death of your spouse. Work stoppage or or a reduction. I'm just going to say that's basically retirement. But work stoppage is out of your control, no doubt. Loss of pension income. Loss of income-producing property. Jim, this one is confusing to a lot of people. They think if they sell a rental property, that's considered to be a loss of income-producing property, but it's not. Let me read this to you. You or your spouse experienced a loss of income-producing property that was not at your direction, not due to the sale or transfer of the property. This includes loss to rural property in a presidentially or gubernatorially declared disaster area, destruction or of livestock, so forth and so on. So, Jim, just a normal sale of rental property, that's not a life-changing event.
No.
Even though, in actuality, you could argue, at least maybe, that you sold your rental property, now you're retired from the rental business.
Well, you could always say, I retired, instead of using the loss of the...
Yeah, it's worthwhile giving it a shot.
Never hurts to ask. Worst can happen is they'll say no.
And then the last one is employer settlement payment. Of course, lots of people say, well, they sold some IBM stock in 2021, now increased their income by $100,000 or whatever. And they're asking us, Jim, if that can be considered to be a life-changing event. And our simple answer is no, it's not. When the 2022 return comes along and shows reduced income, now your 2024 Medicare premium will be the standard dollar amount.
Right. So the good news is it's not a permanent increase. It's based on your income 2 years ago. You may have to pay a higher premium for a year, and then the next year it may go down. So eventually it will catch up.
Jim, we received an email today, which was really kind of odd. Now, I've been reading in the Wall Street Journal lately that there's something called AI chat. I think that's what it's known as. And it's kind of a new thing. But this advisor who's a specialist in retirement planning said that he read in this AI chat thing, and he sent it to us, so it was right what he read, that for surviving spouse benefits, if a widow or widower draws a surviving spouse benefit, that surviving spouse benefit will not, capital N, capital O, capital T, include DRCs earned by the deceased. So, Jim, if you've got Charlie who passes away at 68, was not receiving any benefit, surviving spouse benefit would be limited to whatever his full retirement age benefit was. And I tell you, Jim, that's not what we teach in our class, is it?
No, and the reason we don't teach that in the class is because that's not right. They're trying to say, if you were going to wait till 70 to take your benefit and you died at 69 and you earned 2 or 3 years of delayed retirement credits, I guess it depends on your full retirement age, but whatever delayed retirement credits you earn, sorry for your surviving spouse's luck, but they don't get any credit for that. And so what I did was I looked up for these people in POMS. POMS stands for Program Operation Manual System. That's what Social Security uses to administer the rules and the regulations, the laws on Social Security. And it was clear in there that widows and widowers' benefits would include the primary insurance amount plus any delayed retirement credits that the deceased individual had earned. They don't have to be taking and receiving those benefits. Whatever they earned up until the month that they passed away, that's when it stops, the month of death. But the surviving spouse would get the credit for those delayed retirement credits and see an increase in the survivor benefit.
Jim, if it was the other way, that you don't get those DRCs, then that would take away some of a huge reason for wanting to wait to age 70, wouldn't it?
Oh, sure would. That's one of the important parts of it. When people are doing their planning and they're looking at the estate part of it, when we're both alive, that's fine. But when one passes away, how important are Social Security benefits in your planning? Sometimes those delayed retirement credits really factor in, and that's one reason some people will wait past full retirement age, sometimes all the way up to age 70, to increase what the survivor is going to receive when they pass away.
I was going to say something, Jim, but it's kind of escaped my memory. It was on this topic. So, Jim, let's talk a little bit about deemed filing. When somebody files for benefits, they can be deemed to be filing for their own benefit first. And then if they're eligible for benefit off any other benefit, primarily off their spouse, they'll get that at the same time. That's what we call deemed filing. Jim, are surviving spouses subject to deemed filing?
No, surviving spouse benefits are not subject to deemed filing. Likewise, neither are disability. We talked about that a little earlier. But so if you reach age 62 and you're on Social Security disability, if you are now eligible for a spousal benefit, if deemed filing applied, it would make you take that benefit instead of allowing you to wait until your full retirement age and not be reduced for age for the spousal portion. Deemed filing doesn't apply, so you don't have to file. Same with the survivor benefit. And that allows and for folks to maybe take a smaller benefit in the beginning. You could take your own benefit at 62 and wait and switch to the survivor benefit at your full retirement age, and that way you get the survivor benefit and it's not reduced for age. Likewise, you could take the survivor benefit as early as age 60 and wait till all the way to age 70 to take your own and earn delayed retirement credits on your own work record. So deemed filing does not apply.
Jim, I read an article over the last couple of days. This is on another subject. That the CBL redid its projections of the Social Security Trust Fund and indicated that it was going to be gone a year earlier. Did you see that article? It's kind of been in the news a bit. I didn't really take time to read the whole thing, but that's kind of the gist of it. The trust fund a little more dire now than it might have been 6 months ago.
I did not see that one. I saw a few others, but I didn't see that one.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, I'm no political mention here, Jim, okay? I don't care who's running the government at all, okay? But I know when President Biden had the State of the Union address, he made sure that the Republicans as well as the Democrats said they would not touch Social Security to reduce the deficit. Along those lines, we're not going to touch Social Security. But Jim, there's no doubt in my mind, I don't think there's any doubt in your mind either, that Social Security, that trust fund is going to be gone, 2033, I guess. Let's just say 10 years down the road. Something has to be done to the system to make it more solvent. And there's only two ways, Jim, to make the system more solvent. One, I'll give you one, increase taxes. So instead of limiting it to $160,200 like it is this year, Jim, maybe assess the FICA tax up to $200,000, $250,000, whatever. Jim, what's the other way to make the system more solvent?
Well, you can always cut benefits. Nobody wants to see that happen, and I doubt if they'll go that direction because who's going to vote for somebody that cuts your benefits? Heck, they don't even have to do anything and benefits will cut. If they do nothing, if they hold fast to their word and don't touch Social Security in 2033 or whenever that surplus runs out, everybody will see a cut in their benefit.
Yeah.
Because by law, Social Security cannot operate in the red, and they won't have enough money coming in to pay for everything. So they are going to do something. I think what they're trying to say is we pledge not to cut the Social Security benefits. We're not going to eliminate Social Security. We're not going to eliminate Medicare. We're going to try to make it solvent. One way is what you were talking about is the taxes. Another one, and it seems to be a pretty popular thing, is to raise the full retirement age. And it looks like age 70 is the most popular age that they talk about. The issues that we run into, people are scared. Maybe I better go ahead and file now because they're going to increase my full retirement age. Just like when they raised it from 65 to 67, it won't be immediate. It was a good 7 years before we even started to look at increasing the full retirement age when they passed the law moving it from 65 to 67. And it wasn't overnight. It took 22 years to move it there. So we're looking at something similar. Don't run out and file for Social Security now because you think they might raise the full retirement age. If you're 55 or older, you should be fine.
So, Jim, if they do, Congress does increase full retirement age to age 70, isn't that kind of a form of reducing benefits?
Yeah, it could be.
I guess it would be.
Because now, especially if you take benefits at age 62, when we moved it from 65 to 67, instead of your benefits being reduced 25%, now they're reduced 30%. Well, if they raise it to 70 and leave your initial age at 62, it might be a 50% reduction. So definitely it'll cut benefits. There's one other thing that they're talking about to actually cut some benefits, but it's not for the lower earners. It's for your real high earners. And that is when they compute the benefits now, and I won't get into the weeds and put everybody to sleep, but basically there's 3 brackets to determine an average wage for an individual. And what they're thinking about doing is making it 5 brackets. And that means that extra money you pay the tax on, you're not going to get much use out of that, if any. And what that means is the higher earners will receive a cut. The vast majority of people won't see any change in their Social Security benefit.
Yeah. So there's no doubt in my mind that they will continue to increase the FICA wage base, and they're going to increase it beyond the normal inflationary adjustment. And also, no doubt in my mind, they will reduce benefits by increasing full retirement age, maybe doing away with some DRCs, maybe using the chain CPI index, the W index. Jim, if you meet with all of the married couples that you met with since beginning of the year, how many of them had one spouse that was able to file that restricted application?
It's not many, probably 2 or 3 at the most.
Because he had been born by that magic birth date of January 1st, 1954, in order to file a restricted app. So with each passing day, each passing week, or each passing month, Jim, those numbers are continuing to increase. And are you saying that the end of this year, nobody will be able to file a restricted app?
That's correct. By the end of this year, anybody that was born by that magic date of 1/1/54, they'll be age 70 or older. The restricted application makes no sense to them at that point, and nobody younger can take advantage of it. So it will be a done deal by the end of this year.
Guess they could file the restricted application still. No one's going to, but it's not going to do any good.
Right. It wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
If you want to take less money, sure.
Then go for it. Jim, on the restricted application, when was the last time a married couple had one spouse that was able to file the restricted app? How long ago was that? Within the past month?
Yeah, probably within the last couple of weeks or so, we've had one.
Okay, fine. Okay. Another question for you, Jim, because we're running out of time a little bit on today's Social Security Talk podcast. If you meet with, let's say, 10 married couples, how many of them will have at least one spouse that can file, is eligible for a spousal benefit boost?
Spousal benefit boost, maybe 30 to 40% of them, 3 to 4. Because of the way Social Security benefits are computed, even though if you have a couple, their earnings histories may not be equal, although I have been seeing a lot where they are, but even if they're not, the lower earners get a better percentage return of Social Security benefits versus the higher earners. So oftentimes they think there's going to be a spousal benefit and there's not. So it's becoming less and less over time.
Because the lower earners PIA or full retirement age benefit must be less than half of the high earners full retirement age benefit. And that is happening less and less now because, like you said, a low earner will receive all of that first bend point, which is 90%, some of that second bend point, 32%, and probably none of the third bend point, which is 15%. But the high earner will receive, will be in all three bend points, 90, 32, and 15%. And so it's less and less likely now, Jim, that a spousal benefit boost is payable to the lower earning spouse.
That is true.
All right, folks. So we are drawing to an end on this episode of Social Security Talk. We do two things. We provide Social Security consulting to folks across the country, and we educate advisors throughout the country on Social Security, emphasizing situational Social Security and how to ask those probing questions. To receive additional information about our class, please go to our website, which is www.premiernssa.com. That's Nancy Sam Apple. So premiernssa.com. You find more information about our class. Also, you'll find some information about the group classes that we do. So companies that have us do workshops for the staff and company-wide employees. We always enjoy doing stuff like that. Give me a buzz. My direct hotline, it's like calling the Kremlin, is 513-218-8505. We do have an 800 phone number, folks, but I have no idea what that is. Yeah. So just call my cell, 513-218-8505. And, of course, I can be reached by email, mkiner, Kiner, at mypremierplan.com. Also, connect with me on LinkedIn. Go to your LinkedIn page, send me a connection request. Marc with the C, Kiner, Kiner. I post a lot of good content to LinkedIn, and it'll keep you up to date and educated about the Social Security program and what's going on out there relating to more recent developments. So, this now ends the fourth episode of Social Security Talk. Jim, any final comments you'd like to make?
I just want to make sure that people understand that their situation is different. Don't listen to your neighbor. Your situation is probably not the same. You want to make sure that you maximize your benefit for your particular situation.
Agreed, Jim, 1,000%. Enjoy your trip to Orlando. Sorry I can't go with you this time around.
All right, wink. I will.
Wink. Anyway, Thanks, everybody. This now ends Social Security Talk. Bye, everybody.